much, Kimberly, and welcome to everyone this morning. We're so glad you're here on this really kind of eventful day, a momentous day, an anniversary that we are acknowledging. First, what I would like to do is begin our service as we do each week with an acknowledgement. We light our red acknowledgement candle in recognition and acknowledgement that here at we're at Palomar Fellowship. And by now, many of you know, I live 2 miles from the fellowship. And so I too am on the land of the Luiseño Nation and the Kumeyaay Nation. We light this candle and do this acknowledgement, not to be performative, but to be transformative, to recognize that the land that we're on, all of us are on, is stolen land. May we be reminded when lighting this candle of our commitment to counter racial oppression and to lift up the lives, the struggles of Indigenous people. It is good to be together. I do want to add my welcome. I want to do another welcome and just glad that you were able to join us this morning. I don't know about you, but I already missed that hour. I'm a little bitter. Everybody knows it. We've got to wait until November 7th to get that hour back. But in the meantime, we will have an extra hour rather, of light. And we're grateful for that, as we're going to be thinking of light and flame and bringing that through our service. But I'm personally, a little bit tired this morning, but I'm glad that you're all here. We have a little announcement. It's kind of an exciting announcement. The pledge team, the generosity folks, have begun our pledge drive, our generosity or stewardship drive. It just began. And in the past few days, we have raised 13% of pledges are in. The theme is action plus intention equals magic. And if nothing else, we have done some magic in the past year and in the years past. It almost seemed magical that we were able to go to completely online operations and services in a matter of days. But we know that that feat was about action and the intention to meet the needs of our congregation and those who would call us home. We know too that action and intention wedded is what really creates the magic that we experience at Palomar Fellowship and have since 1958. So we stand in the stream of a living tradition, and we're excited. So a little reminder, there'll be folks from the stewardship team, the pledge committee, they'll be on the patio after the service or in our patio time. So you'll have an opportunity to talk with them and hear about what's happening. So I'm going to invite you to take another breath with me as I invite the bell. Remembering we invite the bell 3 times. Once for those who have gone before, once for those who are with us now, and once for those who will follow. And we remind ourselves, wherever we are, that this is a sanctuary for those seeking their own answers and finding answers to questions of faith. This is a sanctuary for voices lifted up for justice and peace. This is a sanctuary for those seeking companionship in our struggles and our journeys. Invite us into worship this morning with words by the Reverend Eric Kamenetsky. Welcome to this moment. It is the only one we have. I'm grateful you chose to spend it with us because this moment is different when you're here. When you're here, it's better. When you're here, it becomes a moment of community, a moment in community. You know, it's been a challenging year with the pandemic and all of the politics and the weather across this country. It's been a challenging year because we've had to figure out how to be together when we're apart. And we've had to stay apart in order to be together and stay well. But being apart itself makes it harder to be well, right? Nonetheless, we've carried on long enough and well enough to be here now. So welcome to this moment, the only one we have. And let us take hold of this moment and worship together. And beloveds, as we journey together, we will be the light on this journey. If you have a chalice with you, I invite you to light it and sing together with us our chalice lighting song, written by Kimberly Lilly. Take it away, Kimberly.
Light of community, light of authenticity, light of joy and levity, we gather here together to bring light of community, light of possibility, light of what this world can be. We gather here together to bring light of community, light of authenticity, light of joy and levity, we gather here together to bring light.
I'm sure many of you know the story of Sisyphus in Greek mythology. He was given the punishment by Zeus to push a rock up a hill in Hades, essentially forever. As soon as he would stop pushing the rock, it would roll backwards down the hill. So he had to start over and keep on pushing. That was his punishment for his creativity in cheating death. Not once, but twice. Sometimes I think we should reward folks when they cheat death. But I'm not a character from Greek mythology, so what do I know? I had an English teacher in high school who first shared this story of Sisyphus with me. He was talking to me one day after class about some things that were going on in my life, and the advice he gave to me was, "Choose your rock carefully, Sisyphus. You'll be pushing that thing uphill for a long time." The message here being that if I was going to have an eternity of pushing a rock up a hill and I'm picking out the rock, I probably should pick the smallest, lightest rock possible. I had a difficult task ahead, so I could make some choices that would make my task at least a little bit easier. If I chose a really big rock, I'd be pushing all that weight up a steep hill by myself, possibly praying for it to fall back on me and crush me. This made perfect sense. If you arm yourself in advance with the knowledge that picking a small, light rock, your punishment of rock pushing will be easier, you'll have a much easier task. Maybe I had picked out my rock and I didn't make it easy on myself. What if I had to carry out this task the hard way? Learn to love your rock, Sisyphus. You're committed. I could feel condemned to my fate. I could assume that nothing positive would come from all that effort, from that work. However, there's another way to look at this. If there wasn't that guy with that hill and that task, there would be no story. After all, Sisyphus is not remembered for his ability to cheat death by being so creative. No, Sisyphus is remembered for his rock, for his hill in Hades, and his job of rolling it up that hill forever. We remember Sisyphus for being condemned to fruitless labor and having no power over his circumstances or his fate. But what if I told you there's another way to look at this? Sisyphus made a choice, a commitment every day to roll that rock. He could have just leaned against his rock and spent his time daydreaming, but he didn't. He continually made the conscious choice to get up each day, lean into his rock, and start pushing. He pushed as if one of these days he might get lucky and finally achieve the impossible conclusion of pushing that rock up over the hill. Sisyphus redecided his fate on a daily basis. To me, Sisyphus is not remembered for his condemnation, but for his choice. The choice is apparent in so many areas of life. Why would Sisyphus choose to continually push this rock up a hill? Well, why do researchers continue to follow data for hunches for years? Why do athletes train? Why do artists refine their work? Why do poets continue writing and cutting their work? Why do I get up each day and work with the same people that seem to forever fall between the cracks and remain living unsheltered on the streets, in cars, and in canyons? The answer is effort, like virtue, is its own reward. Work is not a curse. Perseverance can move hills. Sisyphus had his rock and his hill. He pushed that same rock up that hill every day. The sun rises and sets every day. I go to work each day, ready to give each person my all, knowing it might be fruitless. If I didn't do all these things that I do, then I would have no story. I'm not condemned to my fate or my lack of power over my circumstances. I will be remembered for my perseverance, my dedication, my work ethic, and my determination. I will be remembered for my commitment. I choose to get up each day and do these tasks, to push my rock up that hill, and I choose to do it with all my power and all my conviction. I give it my all. I believe that Sisyphus learned to love his rock, and I believe he was committed. I think you and I are committed to each other, to this fellowship, and to the larger community. You and I, we love our rocks. As a congregation, we have made commitments to each other. Each week, we're reminded of these commitments when we recite our congregational covenant. Our covenant speaks our values and reminds us of how powerful our commitment is when we are together. These are our values. In mutual love and grace, we journey together, grounded in profound respect for a diversity of beliefs and ideas, sustained by service and shared ministry, enriched through collective spiritual deepening, and a safe environment for all generations to thrive. Please join me in saying our covenant words. Together, we are more than we would ever be alone. Therefore, we promise to practice radical hospitality, mindful communication, and active stewardship. Thus do we covenant with each other. We gather each week to affirm this community. Part of this affirmation is acknowledging all that we share with one another, our time, our talents, and our resources. We live our values by sharing half of the undesignated collection with a local nonprofit organization. This quarter, the plate share goes to the California Indian Culture and Sovereignty Center. The mission is the CICSC fosters collaborative research and community service relationships between the faculty, staff, and students of CSU San Marcos and the members of tribal communities for the purpose of developing and conducting research projects that support the maintenance of sovereignty and culture within those communities. The California Indian Culture and Sovereignty Center was approved in May 2009, and it opened its doors on November 17, 2011. The center is the first of its kind in the state of California and focuses on serving the unique needs of American Indian students by conducting original research and preserving the cultural heritage and languages of tribal communities. The CICSC facilitates a sense of community and belonging among the Native population, both on and off campus. It prepares students to give back to their tribal communities upon graduation. If you are currently in a position to give or to continue making your pledge payments, there are several ways to do that, even in the midst of shelter in place. You can write a check and mail it to our office, or check in with our office administrator to find out how to set up auto payments or pay through the database. Or it is very easy to donate through text to give. You can see the instructions on the screen or in the chat.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Thank you, Kimberly. Thanks for the beautiful piece that you played during Text to Give, and for reminding us with that song. I love those words. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. There is a truth to them, is there not? The truth of our interconnectedness, that when we recognize it, we live from this. And in that living, we make it through. And we have. And we are making it through these times. These times. What a time it has been, beloveds. I think we all remember where we were when the reality of this global pandemic began to settle in. And I said began to settle in because at first we really weren't sure. We knew it was big. We knew it was serious. We knew it was important. We couldn't have known the unfolding of the coming year. I remember the service when we last gathered together. It was March 8th, 2020. And again, that severity of the pandemic was unfolding. We knew that we needed to put distance between ourselves. And that included in the receiving line, on the patio. I remember looking out across the sanctuary and letting you know that we wouldn't be shaking hands or giving hugs in the receiving line or on the patio, that we needed to keep our distance. Instead, we'd give fist bumps or elbow bumps. Some of us were not quite able to do that all the way. We would learn, though, that and so much more. I looked out at the beloved faces in front of me, and I asked you to wrap your arms around yourselves and to feel that hug coming from me, from one another. It's been a year since we've hugged and gathered on the patio in that way. We mourn the loss of those hugs. We mourn that we will never again have a warm hug from our beloved Joan Singer. But we can feel it. The body remembers. We often talk about the body remembering trauma, which of course it does. Maybe we can also remember the press of hands that we love on our shoulders. Grandchildren, grandparents, parents. We lament the difficulties of this time, don't we? Our children in school, trying to figure it out. I lament that we as a nation didn't quite figure out that children didn't have to learn in the same way, that classes could be outside, that there would be no tests. It's still my fantasy that we could learn that and allow our students, our children, to learn in the ways that are indigenous to them, maybe someday. Juggling the challenges of work and homeschooling or going to work and putting yourself at risk, Holly and others. Thank you to all the essential workers who had been called service workers, now essential workers, who are only now possibly going to get enough to sustain them for the essentials that they need in their lives. There's not a day that I walk into the grocery store and am not grateful for the people who are there and the very many people who have kept us going. Many of us have struggled with loss of income and a sense of a loss of security. And I think that's one of the legacies of this pandemic, is the loss of security. We never imagined a global pandemic would occur during our lifetimes, even though it occurred 100 years ago. Just today, I saw a segment on Sunday morning where they showed pictures of having moved classrooms outside during that global pandemic. In so many ways, too, so many have stepped up to keep us connected as we stayed away. And so many poured into the streets, remembering Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, countless names we risked at that time. This has been a time of judging risk. What risk can I take? What risk can't I take? What a year, beloveds, it has been and continues to be. One colleague, Phyllis Hubble, wrote some words that are so powerful to me. I've adopted them some. How do we measure a year? A song from the musical Rent notes that there are 525,600 minutes in 1 year. And that song's in your head, isn't it, right now? 525,600 minutes. How do we measure a life? Last week, we marked 525,600 minutes since the word COVID-19 entered our lives. And since we last saw our children or grandchildren, since we went into the office, or as I said, for some, had a hug. And during that year, we've had over 525,600 deaths. And as of today, March 14th, 546,651, more than one a minute. And yet, there have been those who survived. Those of us here have survived. And here we are together again as a community. And you know, we gather and we hold hope in our hearts for better times to come. We know that better times will come, different times will come. We are excited and hopeful about vaccines, even as we know we still need to keep those protocols in place. Even though we know it's going to be quite a while before everyone who can be vaccinated is vaccinated, and we look forward to that time. We look forward to more love, more beauty, more joy, more justice in the 525,600 minutes that will mark the year we started this week. Let's measure this year in the love we've given and the love we've received. Love that's been and continues to be given in phone calls, in food dropped off, in music made, in stuffed animals having a sleepover at our fellowship, and those of you who've lovingly tended our grounds, preparing for when we can return. And because it fed your soul, right? I get an amen for the soul soil workers at our fellowship. In so many ways that we've worked to carry the flame, to keep the flame of our faith alive and lit, and not just the flame of our Unitarian Universalist faith, but that, and that which is in essence, I guess, the flame of hope, the flame that gives us the knowledge that even in the darkest time, a light is there. We light our acknowledgement candle every week, another flame, another light of justice. We carry that flame. Our chalice is lit in services. We carry that flame. Our chalice is lit at gatherings that we have throughout the week and throughout the month. We carry the flame. We carry the flame with us in the streets when love calls us. We carry the flame in acts of love, compassion, and justice. Beloveds, we carry the flame. I invite you to hear and see words from my colleague Dan Schatz as we consider carrying the flame.
The toughest time you ever knew, the only thing that you could do was carry the flame, spreading through the land. You held your spirit in your hands, carried the flame. Storms and sorrows gathered round, you raised your head and you stayed your ground. You carried the flame. Endless days of the hardest living, you kept on loving, kept on giving. You kept on and carried the flame. The flame, raise it high, send its beacon through the sky, keep it strong and shining through the pain. Let it rise and let it grow, let it light the world, you know, let it glow. Carry the flame. Day is done at last, we take on the spark you've passed. Carry the flame. From hand to hand we send it on, the kindling hope of a rising dawn. In a song we carry the flame. Carry the flame, raise it high, send its beacon through the sky, keep it strong and shining through the pain. Let it rise and let it grow, let it light the world, you know, let it glow. Carry the flame. We are nurses, doctors, teachers. We are children, parents, preachers, and we all carry the flame. We are scientists and cargo packers, farmers, singers, grocery stackers, young and old. We carry the flame, raise it high, send its beacon through the sky, keep it strong and shining through the pane. Let it rise and let it grow, let it light the world, you know, let it glow. Carry the flame, let it glow. Carry the flame.
Take a breath with me. I invite you to just take another breath. Song reminds me of how many people continue to share their light and carry the flame of hope. I invited you to have a candle with you for this service. And if you have one, I invite you to get it now. Otherwise, remembering what Kathleen taught me about creating a chalice and a flame, you can do that in your hand. But if you do have a candle, I invite you to get it. I invite you to just take a look at your unlit candle. See its shape, its size. Maybe it's a little tea light. Maybe it's a big pillar. Maybe it's something in between. Maybe it's a birthday candle. Maybe it's an LED light, whatever it is. And just see it and notice it. And take another breath with me. Beloveds, I invite you now to light your candle if it isn't already lit. And if you have your chalice candle and it is lit, that's great too. Take a look and gaze into the candle flame. As you gaze at the flame, I invite you to remember that which you mourn today. Just allow yourself to have those feelings. Feelings of loss or lostness. And just acknowledge the difficulty of this time, of this past year. It's okay, because there's a light there for you. And now I invite you to take a look, and if it's available to you, to hold your flame up and recall the times that the flame has been carried for you, that a light has been lit upon your way. You could go ahead and scroll through and take a look at the lights that are being held up. If you have a light, please hold it up. We carry the flame, beloveds, each to each, one to all. You have carried the flame in so many ways. You have carried the flame of hope, of healing, of peace, of truth, of justice, and yes, of joy. We carry the flame. You held your spirits in your hands. The flame is your spirits in your hands. When storms and sorrows gathered round, you raised your head. Stayed your ground. Through endless days of the hardest living, you kept on loving, kept on giving, and you carried the flame. And when at last, when the day is done at last, we take on the spark you've passed, and we carry the flame. From hand to hand, we send it on, the kindling hope of rising dawn. In us all, we carry the flame. If you haven't done so, I encourage you to just scroll through the pictures. This is why I wanted us in meeting mode, so we could see each other. So important to see each other, to see our faces, this beautiful quilt of love and light and hope and possibility. Don't forget who you are and whose you are. You belong to love, beloved ones. You are love and belong to love. We have days to go, y'all, beloved ones. We've got some days to go. And we will continue to carry the flame together, together, together. I love you. I would love for you to keep this candle lit. Put it on your altar. And before it goes out, get another candle and light it from this one. And let this flame carry over and over and over, and let it be a reminder that you are not alone. That there is love that has never broken faith with you and never will. That you are held in love and mystery deeper than you can know. And when your flame goes out, there's someone there to light it. Carry the flame. Beloveds, we know that we'll continue to stay apart for a while longer. I need you to be patient. Can you be patient with me? Can you continue to keep yourself safe? I know what the urge will be, but please, we're almost there. We're not quite there. And you know what? Let's not go back to normal. Let's love the hell out of this world more than we did before. Let's remember that achievement isn't what is important. It isn't getting the rock over the hill. It's the effort and energy and commitment that we carry. Let's not go back to business as usual. Let's always carry the flame of love and truth and light and hope and joy and justice, now and always. I invite you to say with me our chalice extinguishing words. And you can put that out, but you can keep this other one lit. Although we extinguish this flame, we carry in our hearts the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment until we are together again. Kimberly, you got something for us?
It sounds like we're gonna be super exciting and do something we weren't expecting, because Reverend Beth wants the fire of commitment.
Kimberly suggested it.
Reverend Beth gets what she wants.
I do what Kimberly suggests.
From the light of days remembered, burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way. When we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the stories of our living brings a song both brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way. When we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice built by our courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin.
Can I get an amen? Y'all, can I get an amen? Y'all just take yourselves off mute and can I get an amen?
Amen.
Hey. All right. Can I get another amen? Amen for Hallie's message, Kimberly's playing, Adrian's amazing tech, Jay's fabulous slides, and all of you for showing up. What a joy. What a thrill. What a privilege to be together. Go in peace, be makers of peace. Don't go too far because you know what? We're in meeting mode, so you do not have to sign off for patio time. And hey, Jay, before we kind of go, can you show us that slide again? I want to just remind folks, in case you missed it when we first started, that we are aiming for magic, y'all. We are in our stewardship drive. Action plus intention equals magic. And how about Michael Muffson, who made that slide, right? And the pledge group got together and imagined, what is it that we want to create this year for our fellowship? And it's really a continuation of the magic that we've made for all these years, right, Reverend Carol? It's just the magic just keeps coming. And that magic is that we come together and we are transformed and transforming. So if you're going to be receiving some information, you've already got it. If you're able to make a pledge, we encourage you to do that so we can continue to carry the flame. Okay, Jay, thanks for sharing that. Now, y'all, we're going to go ahead and have some patio time. And I think Brad is going to be there. And we're going to have time for you to speak with Brad about what's going on with Pledge. Brad's our finance director. We can hang out with each other. And so, yeah, there isn't really a transition. You can maybe go and get some coffee.
You want to do a little bit of this little light of mine as people are going and getting coffee? We can.
You know what, Kimberly, you read my mind. I was going to ask if we could do this little light of mine also.
Yeah.
You know what? We read minds together, right, Kimberly?
Well, have we been together for a very long time, Reverend Beth?
We have been together for a very long time.
So,
what a joy. Yeah.
Yay. That's what happens.
That's right. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to sing this little light of mine. Y'all go, come back. I hope you stay, whatever. We'll hang out. And I'm going to try and figure out how to do breakout rooms. Okay, let's sing, Kimberly.
All right, first verse is this little light of mine. I'm going to let it shine. Second is everywhere I go. I'm going to let it shine. And the last one is building up a oh, look. See, it's in the chat. Don't even have
I
to
did
say
that. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm going to go off mute so I don't ruin things.
This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, everywhere I go, I'm going to let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm going to let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm going to let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up a world, building up a world. I'm gonna let it shine, let it. Building up a world, let it. I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, oh let it shine.
Woo! Let's get another amen.
You're supposed to be going having a break. Sis.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of a break, y'all. I will be back. Talk amongst you, like literally.
You need to give us a
yourself.
topic. You're going to say that. Let's talk about global warming.
Yeah, okay, we could. Yeah, you can talk about what's on your heart, where, how you carry the flame, how others carry the flame. Yeah, I'll be back. Just